Think back. You come home from school, you shake a bunch of these little guys onto a paper plate. You stick them in the microwave, you click beep. The second those things are done, you take them out and proceed to immediately take a massive chomp into one. You torch the roof of your mouth. I'm talking skin peeling in real time, but you don't care, you're so hungry. And even though your mouth is just starting to scab over, you can't help yourself, man. It's one after the other until they slide down the gullet and you're a happy child. Now that is the magic of Bagel Bites, and that's how I remember them. So today, that's what we're gonna go after. We're gonna try to make Bagel Bites exactly the way the good gods of the frozen food aisles intended. The reason they're so good is because they're not gourmet. There's a time and a place for that, and today ain't the day. Let's start with the bagels. So, a proper wholesome little bagel shouldn't have too much going on with it flavor-wise. They should be relatively pale coming out of the oven, which isn't something you'd say for regular bagels. And you can tell if they're legit if there's a sort of a strange, hard, chewy pocket somewhere in the bagel. Iconic. This is art. Now, we've made bagels in the past the proper way, so I've taken my recipe for that and kind of tweaked it and modified it to make these little mini guys. I'll leave those instructions for you in the description below, but basically, you end up with something like this. Bagel dough is super low hydration, so it's actually quite easy to work with. Now, I won't pretend to be Zeus and tell you that we can precisely engineer all that beautiful industrialized micro bagel perfection, but I do have an idea. Ta-da! All right, we got some hot water. We're gonna bring this to a boil. We're just gonna pop in some barley malt syrup. That looks good. And a wee bit of salt. So what we got here is kind of like a dark, syrupy, sort of salty, briny liquid to boil our bagels in. The barley sizzurp is very important for that classic bagel flavor. All right, these are proved. You can tell they bounce back nicely. Look at that, beautiful. Now we can pop in our bagels. I'm gonna go maybe 8 at a time. 1 minute per side of boiling. All right, we'll go ahead and give these a flippy. Looking good. Pat these off just a bit, get rid of that excess moisture. And we're keeping these plain, no toppings. While those bake, let's talk about how Bagel Bites infiltrated our lives in the first place. These little cheese frisbees didn't just pop into existence. They were strategically engineered for our childhoods. Bagel Bites were invented by 2 dudes in the 1980s who noticed something very scientific in social functions. Kids ignored basically everything except for the pizza. Keen eye these 2 gentlemen had. With that information, these dudes asked basically the most American question anybody could. How could we make pizza stupidly convenient, fast to make, and, of course, turn a profit? So they took mini bagels, slapped on some sauce, some cheese, froze them, and boom, sales exploded. Matter of fact, things grew so fast that Heinz actually came along, bought up the company, and popped Bagel Bites into every freezer aisle in America. But the 1990s are when things get dangerous. Bagel Bites didn't just sell food, they sold permission. Permission to eat pizza whenever you wanted. And they drilled that idea directly into our brains with one of the most unhinged commercial jingles of all time.
Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time.
When it's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. By the late 90s, Bagel Bites were everywhere. After school snacks, sleepovers, basement hang sessions, and if you're my boy Johnny, cold and in a little Ziploc bag packed for your lunch. So when we make these, we're not just making a snack. We're revisiting a piece of American history. When parents had other things to worry about, nobody asked the right questions, and life was a whole lot simpler. Whee! Look at those cuties. So choose your ugliest boy and probe it. If it reads just around or over 205, your bread is perfectly baked, or your bagels in this case. It's okay if they get a little darker, but the pale ones are nice because remember, we're gonna pop these in the toaster oven again. And the hole, see that? Nice and taut, that's important. We do not want a massive hole in our bagel bite or that would be a mess. Cute, right? Okay, we're gonna let these cool and get going on our sauce. Real quick, this video is brought to you by my merch. I've been working on some pretty cool designs over the past few months that I think you guys are gonna dig. If you're looking for some new gear for your boy, your girl, your family, your friends, your dog, you can save money off your entire order by heading over to the website now and using the special code at checkout. All of the proceeds from merch sales goes directly to helping my work and the channel and basically keeping the lights on. And to all you guys who already went ahead and bought some gear, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. All right, back to the video. So the sauce on a bagel bite isn't really like any other sauce that I've made, at least on purpose. And that's likely because it's simply just watered down commercial tomato paste that's had an absurd amount of salt and sugar added to it. Aside from that, the sauce has this sort of like a tin can robo tomato taste to it. And it's sort of like, I don't know, like a caricature of an Italian red sauce. So for our sauce, I did what any savvy American corporation from the frozen food golden age would do. I sourced the cheapest tomato products money can buy. Only the best on the channel for you folks. No, yeah, I literally think this was like $1.89. This might have been like $1.16 or something, like under $2 for these cans. It's pretty incredible. Okay, medium heat, pan pot. I'm gonna hit it with a little neutral oil. And we're just gonna cook off a little bit of this tomato paste. And when I say a little, I mean a lot. The sauce kind of has that like long cooked, overly spiced taste to it. I say that with love, somehow. Yeah, there's no way they used real olive oil for this. Neutral oil. Gonna toast this off for a little bit. Now we'll just hit some tomato sauce in the mix. Oh yeah. Now I say tomato sauce and not tomato puree because tomato sauce is a different thing. It's basically tomato puree that's been seasoned, salt, pepper, lots and lots of different seasonings, garlic, you know, that type of thing. So it's kind of ready to go out of the can. And I thought it was kind of appropriate to use because we're going for that sort of like industrial frozen food flavor. And this is basically that. You can add a little more like garlic or oregano. I would use the dried stuff though, keep it legit. But yeah, definitely save those real San Marzano tomatoes for your Sunday sauce. This ain't it. Now we'll whack in some dried oregano, just a little more oregano. I feel like it always has that taste of like too much oregano. Big pinch of salt. Remember, a little bit of salt's already in there. You don't have to add too much. Same goes for our sugar, but this is American frozen food after all. Basically tomato candy. You could also sneak some MSG in here if you'd like, but that's not on the ingredient list. Okay, we gotta talk toppings here. Now, if you go to the grocery store, you're gonna see probably like two types of bagel bites. You got your classic cheese and your pepperoni. And while I'm not opposed to a plain slice or classic cheese, the pepperoni is just a little more exciting and to me, a little more nostalgic. So what do we have here? Here, we have some pepperoni. Now, I just went to my grocery store. I went to the deli area. They usually sell those little like mini logs of pepperoni that you can cut for your own pizza or charcuterie or whatever. And because we're going for the original look and feel here, we're gonna cut these up to basically like a small dice. To start off, I like to cut the pepperoni in thirds. Then I like to slice off one side to give us a stable base, makes it a little easier to cut. Then we're gonna cut long ways down the pep into sheets. I would say maybe about 1/4 of an inch, somewhere around there. Just kind of make it look like the box. Once you have your batons, you'll flip those around and start dicing out your pepperoni dice cubes. Those most definitely are cubes. Those are not the regular peps that we know and love. For the cheese, now the back of the box here, to my surprise, it's part skim mozzarella cheese with modified food starch and skim milk. So I went ahead and got me some low moisture mozzarella cheese, low fat mozzarella cheese, and did the same thing. I just asked for a whole brick from my deli, set it down. I just like to try to cut it into a roughly, 1/3 of an inch slices, slabs rather. Then you're just gonna set those down. You're gonna cut them one way to make your batons, flip them, cut them another way to make your cubes. By the end of it, you should have some cheese and some pepperonis. We don't have the industrial food complex on our side, so don't worry about getting these super perfect. Your knife skills are gonna be good enough, trust. If you can go for something, kind of like relatively even in size and stuff, you're gonna be fine too, man, It's an unbeatable combo no matter how big or small you make them. Okay, so we got our sauce, our bagels, our peps, and our cheese. I think it's finally TTB. Time to build. 1 bagel equals 2 bagel bites. I'm gonna go down with a tiny amount of sauce here. Less is more, I would say. Just gonna spread that around. Not quite going edge to edge here. Remember, we're going for kind of what it looks like on the box. I know they never actually look like that, but might as well. Nice. I'm gonna go with a little bit of our Maz, a little bit of pep, maybe a touch more Maz. And that's it, man. That's our bagel bite right there. Nothing too crazy, just like the box, kind of. Now you just rinse and repeat with the remaining. Now I made a bunch of bagels. I think I got 24 bagels out of that, which means 48 bagel bites. So, you know, make as many or as little as you'd like. Et voila. Okay, so for our first batch, we're gonna pop these in the toaster oven. I think that's probably the best way to eat bagel bites because they actually get a little crispy, things get gooey on top. Yeah, probably the most enjoyable. Not that that's how I ever really ate them growing up, but more on that later. Oh, hoo, hoo, hoo. What do we have here? And there she blows. Homemade bagel bees. Got the original and ours. Roughly the same size. Ours is slightly larger, slightly more color on the bagel. But yeah, I don't know, like pretty similar. Maybe if we put these in the toaster oven, they might look a little similar, but. So before we give this a taste, I wanna kinda like refocus us on the original mission here, which is to make bagel bites that kinda like look and taste like the original stuff out of the box. These are a little, it's funny to say, a little too good. They're a little gourmet. The bagel's just a little too supple and chewy and good. The sauce is on point, the peps and the cheese, same thing, but the bagel is the crux here. So I did something a little demonic yesterday.
I'm a demon.
Oh my God, all right. I made a batch of exactly what we did yesterday, except I didn't cook them yet. I just kind of stacked them tall and I froze them. So I'm thinking if I take some of these and I pop them in the microwave and nuke them for like 1, 2, 3 minutes, we're gonna get that classic bagel bite texture that you really just can't achieve. Or can we? It's so funny how like nasty this final texture is and I want it, but I like it though. So maybe I'm nasty. Maybe I'm nasty boy. That's more like it. Okay, so to show you what we're working with here, we got the toaster oven version here, more uniformly like, you know, melted, kind of looks a little better, whatever. And then we have the classic microwaved bagel bite here. Still ripping hot. You can tell it already feels a little weird and chewy. Chewy without even tasting it, right? Look at that. The texture's just crazy. And if it doesn't have that like thin sheet of translucent cheese goo, it ain't a bagel bite. I mean, look at this. This is what we want. I want the cheese stuck. It's almost kind of like a Frico in like a 7th layer of hell way. Okay, enough talking. Let's try these things here. I think we're gonna send the toaster first. Cheese. Oh, I mean, you can just hear it. The bagel is crispy on the outside, dense and chewy in the middle, but like in a regular bagel sort of way. Sauce, classic, like, you know, overly sugary sauce. The cheese is cheese, it's mozzarella. There's not really much there. This is actually very pleasant, a little too pleasant. All right. Microwave. Oh, I literally somehow burned the roof of my mouth yesterday, like not with bagel bites. I'm just compounding it. Maybe if I drink like cold water and then like immediately munch it. Oh yeah. Woo! I don't know what happens to these things in the microwave, man. Whether it be the regular ones or the homemade version, parts of the bagel, like patches within the bagel network, get like super, I say chewy and dense, and I'm saying that, you know, you could say that in a good way, and you could say that in a bad way. It's that nostalgia factor that, to me, just like makes a bagel bite. Like, ow. Oh my God. I feel like I'm in my buddy's basement playing Super Smash Bros. Melee right now. No, I don't even know what a tax is. Don't even know how to define it. Don't even know what a car payment is. Don't even know what a student loan is. Don't even know how to do my own laundry. Just kidding, I actually knew how to do that young. That was like the one thing. And the dishes, I did that too. You get the idea. These things are peak. I don't know, man. I like both. Like, this isn't a this or that situation. The challenge was, could we get these things to kind of like actually resemble a bagel bite out of the box? I think for me, with the microwave version, we more or less achieved that. Clearly these are a little more substantial homemade bagel. They're better, straight up, like as far as like food goes. But man, tossing some of those in the microwave, I haven't done it for years, and it's just like, now I'm gonna have to do this like once a quarter. I'm enjoying myself right now. You know, making like old nostalgic foods like gourmet, like that's cool, that's like a fun pursuit, but there's nothing wrong with these out of the box. They're not broken. They've been feeding families and kids and teenagers and grown-ass men for a very long time, and that's pretty cool, man. Sure, it's also a prime example of processed junk food and tricking little kids into eating it and all that, but at the end of the day, man, have a couple of bagel bites. I mean, look at me, I turned out great.
Demon.
Did we get these as close as we could to something that would come straight out of a freezer box from the grocery store? I think we did a pretty good job, but you know, you tell me in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments. Do you prefer the toaster oven or the microwave? Are you a psycho like me or a regular person? If you went to a kid's house and they like kind of like, oh, would you offer you a drink first? You know, like a Capri Sun, a high C, and then they go and proceed to put their bagel bites in the toaster oven and wait. Anybody who did that is likely either working on Wall Street, is in Silicon Valley, or is involved in politics. And if you're on the other end of the spectrum, you're making YouTube videos. If this brought you back and made you feel a special type of way, like the video, sub to the channel if you're new to the channel. The best way to support the channel is over on the Patreon, aka the Grocery Fund. Otherwise, come say what's good in Discord. We're doing a lot of fun stuff over there, giveaways, we're chatting, we're hanging out, so come introduce yourself. Also, cop some merch. It directly supports the channel and you can get some cool threads out of it, right? I'm making new designs all the time. Be sure to take advantage of that sale. If there's another like iconic frozen food that you want me to make on the channel, let me know in the comments. And that is all I got for you. So, until next we meet. Kawabunga.